We're officially in peak autumn season here in the UK. The trees are orange, the weather's cold all of a sudden, it's gloomy, and summer has disappeared faster than it came around. And today we're going to go through my indoor training setup. This is where I'm going to be locking in over the winter months. Indoor training is not something that I enjoy massively, to be honest, but I've reached a point where I've got some decent kit and the setup is pretty elite and it makes riding indoors very bearable. In fact, I've actually done quite a bit of indoor training over the summer months, even though we had a pretty good summer here in the UK, doing a lot of outdoor riding, but I'll always do my intervals and efforts and stuff like that on the indoor trainer, just because it's simple. Don't have to worry about cars, traffic lights, finding a road that's suitable. I just sort of lock in on the indoor trainer. The watts are constant, makes life a lot easier. So that's what I've been using the indoor trainer for over the summer. And now obviously in the coming months, when it's going to start to get supremely cold and wet and icy and stuff in the UK, we're going to be clocking some hours on the setup. So let's go through it. And I think what we're going to do is have an effort up out the Zwift to get the autumn winter season started. So what we'll do is I'll get it all set up and then we'll go through the kit that I have, why I've got it and what I like about it. Should add that the setup currently lives in the living room of my flat. Is that ideal? No, it's not. I'd rather have it in some isolated pain cave in a shed in my garden, but I don't have a garden. I'm currently living in a one-bed flat with Jade, and yeah, this is what it is. Hopefully we'll move at some point, but for now, we're making do. I think it looks pretty good, but Jade would probably disagree if you asked her that question. So yeah, this is it. This is a pretty serious setup. The brains behind it all is the Garmin Tacx Neo 3M. This is Garmin's flagship indoor smart trainer. Got a number of features. My favorite things are simply the movement you get. The forward and backward movement, and then you get a little bit of side to side as well. And it just feels about as realistic as an indoor trainer can feel, given the amount of motion that you get when you are riding it. It also does some other pretty interesting things. So when I'm riding on Zwift, for example, and you go over a bridge or cobbles, it simulates how it feels to ride on the cobbles, basically vibrates up and down various different movements just to simulate different terrains, which I think is pretty cool, but depends if you're into that or not. It's just another thing that it does that makes it feel a little bit more realistic and less like you are on an indoor trainer. It also tracks your power, your cadence, your speed and that to within 1%. And that's probably why I lose on my Zwift races, because everyone else is running these janky ass inflated power meters and I'm on an actual legit thing, is what I tell myself. I've been using the Tacx Neo 3M since last winter. It was my main setup through the winter months last year, and it is by far and away my favorite indoor training setup that I've ever tried, that I've ever owned, simply because of how realistic it is. The best way I can describe it is dynamic. And speaking of dynamic, you're probably thinking, what the hell is that thing on the front of the bike? This is the Garmin Tacx Alpine, a gradient simulator. How mad is that? That is mental. And the way it works is it's communicating with the Tacx Neo 3M, which is talking to Zwift when I'm riding it. And when I'm riding in Zwift and I'm going up a 7% gradient, for example, the Tacx Alpine will replicate said gradient up to 25%. And then you can also go down to minus 10%. And the idea is it simulates the feeling of cycling up and down hills, and it does it extraordinarily well. Again, because of the amount of movement and the range of flexibility you've got on this thing is crazy. Again, you've got forwards and backwards movement, and then you can also steer the bike a little bit because of this techie fork mount. It's just the range of motion you get, so good. And again, it just makes things feel extremely realistic for an indoor trainer. Obviously, you can't proper throw the bike around like you would do on a 25% gradient in real life, but this is as good as you are going to get if you want to simulate the feeling of riding outdoors inside. Just something to caveat with the Alpine is it is only compatible with the Tacx Neo 3M and the Tacx Neo 2T, which are two of Garmin's higher end indoor smart trainers. But I guess if you're interested in actually getting one of the Alpines for your setup, you're probably already an indoor training nerd, so you might just have one of the compatible trainers already, I guess. I'm also using the Garmin Rally RS 210 power pedals. These are Garmin's sort of flagship power pedals, dual sided as well. I don't actually track power when I'm on the indoor training using these. These are obviously just for outdoor power, but they're rechargeable as well. They're pretty smart. But yeah, the only other thing to note is I've got the Zwift cog and click setup, which just allows virtual shifting when I'm using Zwift. Got a fan out of shot, pretty imperative to keep you cool, but a little bit boring. And then I've got the Tacx mat on the floor just to stop the sweat getting on the carpet, basically. That is pretty much my ultimate indoor training setup. And what I'm gonna do now is have a dig up Alpe d'Huez. So I actually got to do Alpe d'Huez in real life properly this summer. The problem with that was it was 160k and 4,000 meters of elevation into the Marmot, and I was a dead man walking at that point. It took me about 3 business days to get up that mountain. Sorry to tell you this, but I don't have anything left. There's nothing going to the pedals. It's so hot. I remember rightly, I was on Alpe d'Huez for nearly 2 hours, maybe more. I stopped roughly 8 times to try and cool down because at that point in the Marmot, I had absolutely nish left. My legs were not in the chat. So today, I'm gonna see how quick I can get up Alpe d'Huez, and hopefully we'll make a little bit of an improvement on the time I got in real life. Otherwise, I'm just gonna can the cycling and go back to running and stuff like that, because that would just be embarrassing. So you open up Zwift and I've set everything up so it connects automatically. You can see I've got the resistance, the power source and the cadence running through the Neo 3M. Controls, AKA the shifting, is through the Zwift cog and click. And then my heart rate is the Garmin heart rate strap that I've got on right now. So the specs on Alpe d'Huez are pretty heinous actually. So 12-kilometer climb with 1,030 meters of elevation, average gradient 8.5%, the last climb you want to see. At the end of the Marmot, Road to Sky is loaded up on Zwift. The Alpine is set to auto, so it's going to replicate the gradients. Got 5 kilometers of chill flat roads, and then we get to the foot of the climb. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to it actually. Sorry, I didn't have it in me to do a proper effort. Let everyone down, let my family down, I've let myself down, and yeah, could tell pretty early on that my legs were not feeling the effort for that duration, so I ended up just pootling up there in a time of 1 hour and 27 minutes overall for the 18 kilometers, and Alpe d'Huez itself was about 1 hour 15, so about 45 minutes quicker than at the Marmot, but not a PB that is going to break any records. KOM is safe for now, but we're going to have plenty of time over the winter months on this setup to have a proper dig when my legs are feeling fresh. Yeah, for now, hopefully you've enjoyed seeing my setup. and it's given you a bit of inspiration as to what you can do with your indoor training setup over the next couple of months, because let's face it, in the UK, the weather is going to be bad for 80% of it. But yeah, big thanks to Garmin for sponsoring the video. I've been working with Garmin now for well over a year, and I genuinely love the stuff. So if you've got any questions about any of this kit, the indoor stuff, the outdoor stuff, the bike computers, the power pedals, whatever it is, give me a shout, cause I have a pretty good idea about the products at this stage, and I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments. So yeah, in the meantime, have a good week, and I will see you in the next video.